wrist on liquid, watch it. Turn the bitch, jump on my dick and pop it. Yeah, get a little bit of deposit.
Came through drippin',
Drip, drip.
came through drippin'.
Bitch, you a thought ain't tricking. Put her on the knee, make her lick it.
Bananas peel now. Revealing those secrets.
Take off.
Came through drip, drip. I ain't never slipping on my pen. Fucking with $250,000 nigga with a feeling. What the mission nigga, they be telling off a squilling. Splash, took a bit to Piccadilly, water in my ear, give a nigga wet willy. Came through drip, just spilling. Fucking with the bag, trying to get my niggas all a million. Stack it to the ceiling, shooting this civilian. Under one dealing, I can make a killing. Bass, can you smell it when I back ceiling? Fly nigga throw it up, no care about your feelings. Fuck with the deal, what you wearing, every drip. Got rip kids, hit a nigga can't grip. Big got this, so I can shit 8 G's. She leave with me, I'ma fly back to the city.
Private jet, we don't do layover. One call, I'm having your bay over. Walk up the stop with the makeover. Got her addicted to payover.
Came through drippin',
Drip, drip.
came through drippin',
Drip, drip.
came through drippin'.
Drip, drip.
Diamonds on my wrist, they drippin'. Ice. Came through drippin',
Drip, drip.
came through drippin'.
Chico, got me frozen and still better leave. I'ma swap at the time and that's take it from me. Move jittery bass in 3 days, I'm on 3, I'm gone. Palomino Patron, cappuccino Patron. Alameda song, stack it up, stack it up.
Welcome back. That was a fantastic intro. That really brought me back. We're live on, what are we calling them today? The Pit, DeFi OG. Well, we'll just call it DeltaFi. Why not? Welcome back, dude. Great to have you, Messi.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good to be here. I think it's been a while before, since I've done a stream or any kind of public appearance. I've been enjoying my little corner, my little privacy. It's been nice to be away, out of the spotlight, away from the pressure. It's funny because I've been here, since 2013. You see multiple cycles. Obviously, I wasn't some kind of hero or popular to begin with. Like the guys that were my idols that kind of made me get into this public persona. Like This Is Noose, Dre For You. Like, you don't start out like that. You start getting exposure, you start getting attention, and like, don't get me wrong, it's really nice, right? And also, anything you buy has this like marketing engine built in, which is fantastic as well, because this is the attention economy. It's all an attention game, and you can be in the best project in the world. If there's no one that's going to put eyes on it, it doesn't matter. But the whole hero villain boom bust cycle kind of gets old. So it is really, really nice just being able to kind of be on the sidelines and be a reply guy kind of account. And,
there was quite the arc, many an arc. Well, look, dude, it's an absolute pleasure to have you back. I've missed it. I've
missed you guys. I'm excited. I miss doing this. I'm not saying like I'm coming back all the time or whatever, but I am.
You heard it, guys. He's back full time.
No, I'm definitely not. I'm definitely.
Well, look,
it's nice being here today. I'm excited. I really am.
Yeah, it's really good context for today because I've been I've been playing the bear fiddle for a couple weeks now. I mean, for obvious reasons. We've just basically since the listing.
Is that what they call it these days? Playing?
Yeah, and in the chat, the bear fiddle. The little bear with the little fucking ding dong ding ding. And you and I was in the chat with you. You said, "What are you looking at? What setups are you looking at these days?" And I said, "I'm bearish." And you just gave me this like GIF, right? But what was the price of Bitcoin when I said that? Like 46K.
Do you have any fucking Bitcoin?
I do today. I bought it back this morning. I said turnaround Tuesday, and I said, "Yeah, I bought it back. I bought back Bitcoin." And Solana, Bitcoin and Solana. So I'm long again.
I think Solana's also move here. I like the market does kind of show its hand, and we saw these things that outperformed like during, I guess, the early phases of this super cycle. And like Solana was crazy, right? I mean, this shit went from $9. I mean, that was a super liquid 10x and it happened fast. Like,
yeah,
it was pretty incredible.
Well, funny thing, it was just actually like the shittiest coin all year. It doubled in early January 2023, and then it was a total get left behind trade, and then it just like 5x'd in the last.
I thought it was cooked. Like I thought it was done, and like a lot of people like have been retweeting like old Kobe posts and things like that. A lot of meat writers out there. I think the really interesting thing though, and especially even as I look back at my posts like from early 23, end of 22, like those were some really dark times, like really dark times. Like it's the first time since I've been here. And of course, every bear market, like everybody's going to say it's over, like it's never coming back. That was so fucking ridiculous. Like we're never going to see this much money come in again. And we're always proven wrong. But that time, like even as somebody who's been here forever, I was like looking at this and I was like, is it over? Like, was
dude,
that it?
If you remember that within the same 7 days and completely independent of one another, I applied for a teaching job. And the same week you were pulling out, you were like, I'm done with stables. I don't trust anything.
Fucking out of here.
Like, give me the banks. You were like fucking deep throating bank fucking
hey, that 5% yield, buddy.
Very, very tasty.
And that was bottom signals. That was literal bottom. I did one training day with like the local board where I was like, I'm going to go in twice a month just to get out of the office. And I did one sesh with them and they were like, you'll show up at this time and you'll do this. And I was like, what the fuck was I thinking?
No way.
You like somehow forgot what that's like, but it's
it was a nice wake up call. I was like, oh wait, this job is dope. I'm staying.
I never want to do this again.
Look, I'd say that anybody that like is going to take crypto seriously, this is a full-time job. And I understand like there's nothing wrong with like having a job. And of course, God, please do not quit your fucking job to go full-time crypto unless like you have some runway, set aside for yourself. But if you're serious about this, like, look, when you get off work, like you're not going out on Friday. Like you're not having a fun weekend with the boys. Like you need to get to fucking work and you need to start researching. You need to start like talking to people and networking. There's a lot of work to be done here. Like for me, like I've been full-time crypto for a bit now, but I work 7 days a week, and like even during the weekends and stuff, like I still have a little bit of work to do. I try to make myself more available for my family and, do a bunch of stuff with my daughter and my wife, but it's hard. Like every single day when I wake up, the first thing I do, and maybe some people, listening to this will identify with this, is I check my portfolio to make sure I didn't get rugged. I'm not fucking wrecked on anything. I check the charts. I'm like, okay, all right, I got my baseline. I kind of made up for that missed time while I'm sleeping. Okay, I'm back. I'm ready.
Yeah, that's been hardest thing for me with the babies is like, and bless my lady because she covers for me. But basically, they wake up and she's got that first 20 minutes covered, and I'm just because I need it like to be present with the fam. I need to wake up, see what happened during the China session, see what happened in Asia. Reset.
Look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants, the China session.
The China session. Come downstairs. Basically want to know if China banned Bitcoin overnight. And so it takes about 20 minutes checking messages, replying to a few things, seeing a few alerts, whatever. And then I'm like, now I'm ready. And I come downstairs and it's with the fam. But if you just go straight to like crying baby, you're
so scarred from China banning Bitcoin that you still check to this day.
I do. Yep. And Sifu Gate, man. Sifu Gate, what happened at 2 a.m. I remember waking up to that like 7 a.m.
No!
Time was just like this. And I was just like, wait, what happened? And everyone's like, check the chart.
Check the timeline.
So like every morning, it's just PTSD for about 5 to 10 minutes.
This space will fuck with your head. It really will. Like, makes you paranoid. At least me. I'm like schizo as fuck from this.
Mm-hmm.
So Messi, you obviously you made it in the last bull run. Well, you did very well. Let's not say you made it because you're back and you're a sucker for punishment, and clearly it wasn't enough, and you're back. But what was interesting about what you said is that you kind of like obviously being kind of like famous in the space. Well, that's not what you said, but it's like you do have that attention, and now you stepped away from that. I mean, I do prefer kind of like your more undercover account, just for the record. I love it. In fact, it's
me too.
It's awesome, dude. And it's like, but at the same time, you don't have that attention anymore yet. I know that you are super in the groove. You know exactly where you want to put your money most of the time anyways. Tell us about that process and not having that attention, but still figuring shit out and still being
it was an adjustment, and I had to do a lot of like reframing, about the way I think about things, because once again, like there's when you buy something, like you can buy the best thing in the world, but if there's no attention, if there's no eyeballs on it, you could be waiting a long time. So, I think really the reframing in my mind wasn't just, look for great fundamentals. It was look for what's going to get chilled. And like, I started out the year, like doing something stupid, and like I got buried alive. I missed the first half. I bought this coin or this IEO called PICA or whatever. And it was a great product.
I've been shilling PICA for the last like 2 weeks.
No, not
PICA.
PICA. It's essentially it's similar to like a GMX, and that was kind of at the tail end of the bear, to where I did actually really, really well Q1, Q2 of 23. When I left and I took most of my money, I took 90% of my money out. I sold everything I had in crypto January 1st, 22, everything to cash.
Good time to do that.
Everything. And I put it all in my bank account, and I changed my life. Okay. But I left some in crypto because this is a big part of my life. It's who I am. And I am never going to get away from it. And that's something I found out recently. But I did really, really well. I bought Hxro super cheap. Hxro did like 10x, when everything was having that early spike. I put a nasty red candle on the chart. But then I took those profits and I rolled into this PICA thing, and I got buried alive. And I ended up getting lucky. We ended up being able to RFV PICA because they hadn't spent the money that they raised in the treasury, and the chart was just down only. And the team, they were just overwhelmed with everything. A lot of respect to them, though. They handled it really well, and they handled the investor situation really well. But I got my money back, and I was like, okay, I need to start I need to get a pulse in the market. I need to really get a feel of what's going on here. And of course, at that time, I see everybody circle jerking super hard about SYN, you got TIA, which were phenomenal trades, right? But I start seeing like, okay, there's not much money here right now. Ecosystems aren't moving. Obviously, DeFi is not a great trade because people are sick and tired of getting rugged in DeFi. Just about anything you put your money into, like people don't feel comfortable with, and that's why meme coins I think have become this incredible meta. Like I really miss these like big brain DeFi games like Basis Cash and things like that. And like honestly, like Ampleforth, I guess we'll talk about that some later. I don't have a bag now, but it's a really interesting play, I think. For a number of reasons, but like you got to get first. It was like, okay, what do people like? L1s and L2s are great trades because we have enough money in the system to kind of pump L1s and L2s, and then you start looking at like the different hot narratives. A lot of the big money players, a lot of people on Twitter seem to think like DePIN is going to be really big. Modularity is a big narrative. ZK has been kind of a secondary narrative. I'm not going to say it's like at the front and center stage right now, but it's there. RWA, real world assets, is a big narrative right now. So then I start thinking to myself, like, okay, as somebody who doesn't have this reach that I used to have, what can I buy that has a great story behind it that can be shilled and will be shilled by other people? We'll let them get the blood on their hands this time, not me, and I'll just buy these bags cheap while no one's talking about them before people are shilling them and ride them to glory. So my whole thesis right now is basically look at what crypto Twitter is in and don't buy that, but buy great stories that they're not in. And that's actually been doing really, really well. I've done extremely well the last few months, and extremely well since the beginning of 2023, despite some road bumps and misunderstandings and miscalculations on my part. But right now, of course you say, hey, Bitcoin, it's all the news. Can it go lower? Sure. Even with like all the fear in the market, these bags nuking, like the timeline in pure Wojak mode, like my portfolio is pushing new highs today. And it's not just a byproduct of one thing going up. Everything in my portfolio is doing really well. It's holding up really well. And I think that's because when you're in these non-consensus trades, you don't have all of these weak hand, bozos who bought just because some big dude on Twitter was talking about something,
Yeah.
brought attention to it, that are going to flinch, you know, when the market does. You've got people that actually believe in these stories and people with conviction. And that's the thing, you know, you look at the charts out there, and here's how I know, like, we're still early game. You look at the charts and so many of these things, these altcoins, and they look so fucking good. Like, they look incredible. So it's just like, you know, I always tell people the easiest thing to do is like, you know, are you early or are you late? Look at the chart. You know, does the chart look like a fucking hockey stick already? You're not early, okay? Like, you're just not. I don't want to buy other people's multiples, because the more people, you know, that are in profit, the more likely it is you're going to get fucking dumped on. Because the market flinches, somebody's going to say, well, fuck, I'm 5X on that. I don't want to give that upside up. I'm going to go ahead and sell. I can rebuy lower, or I can rotate to something else. So I try to focus on things that had amazing charts, amazing stories that hadn't moved yet, and just park there and pray, you know.
Yeah, you had a couple good bags that I was waiting on dips on. CTSI kind of M'd out on the daily. That's the only thing that I sold when I had my little Wojak moment where it's actually higher now. Tell us about CTSI, if I may out your bags.
You can, of course, I'm going to show my bags. You know, it's been a while.
Well, I need some conviction, man. ALEPH was probably the hardest mover today. 20%. I just saw it trading on Coinbase. I'm like, damn, that's the one. Because last night I was looking at things. This morning I was trying to buy dips. Ended up in some like pretty blue chippy stuff. But ALEPH and CTSI, tell us about them.
So Cortezi is a really interesting project. You know, the first thing you'll notice, and I remember somebody actually made fun of this, like in one of the early Shitcoin Church episodes. And I still remember because it hurt my feelings to see somebody make fun of this. But they were making fun. They were like, this dude just goes, he looks at the website and does this and that. And like, anybody can do that. But here's the thing, like, you look at the average normie who is looking for a bag to buy and looking for a story to believe in. What are they going to do? They're going to go look at the socials. They're going to go to the Telegram. They're going to go to the webpage and look at the webpage. You know, does the webpage feel like something expensive? You know, does it feel like something serious? And I understand, like, you know, you could call that a left curve perspective or something like that all you want. That's fine, you know, but the first thing that like caught my eye about this is I was in CoinGecko doing research. And this is a big part of my research, you know, and CoinGecko has gotten so much better too. And also, you know, you can cross-reference with CoinMarketCap, but, you know, I was like, L1 and L2 is a powerful narrative right now, because with the limited amount of participants and money in the system, you know, we're talking about like, you know, the top of the fucking funnel, the top of the pyramid, like the entire community for Avalanche, for example, can get behind Avalanche. But there's only going to be some subsets of that community that might be interested in BenKey or some of the DeFi protocols or other things, or the meme coins on Avalanche. Okay. So it was along that same line. Okay. L1s and L2s. Go to CoinGecko, start looking. I want to find really, really high quality projects that are like $100, $200 million market cap. And I had an amazing trade on Metis that was basically the same theory. And then I wanted to buy them big. Cortezi was $150 million market cap. I think it's like 200 million now. But the story behind Cortezi is that, you know, it's an app-specific roll-up. We know that roll-ups are a big narrative because everybody in the entire crypto Twitter timeline has been circle jerking about Dimension, right? Well, Cortezi is almost the exact same thing. It's a Binance Launchpad project. You know, it doesn't have this massive supply overhang. It's got a really attractive valuation. And it's got a really, really high quality product. And I'm not just saying that either. You know, some of my smartest developer friends who, you know, I asked to like, hey, could you take a look at these kinds of things? You know, people that are way smarter than me really, really like it. So the webpage, fucking awesome. The branding, fucking awesome. The narrative fit, fucking awesome. The market cap, fucking awesome. The chart, fucking awesome. And the story behind this, you know, you see these new VMs come out every day. We look at the EVM, of course, you know, which is the dominant, most popular virtual machine. Somebody launches a new EVM project, and you immediately have access to this developer community, right? And that's important because people can go ahead and start building out your ecosystem. But then you look at something like SWI or something like Aptos, you know, and you're looking at these move VMs. like that's a badass VM. Like, don't get me wrong. And I think that VM is going to capture a lot of minds and a lot of market share, but it takes time for that developer community to form, because those resources, the examples of things that have already been built, they don't exist yet. So the really interesting thing about Cartesi is these guys put Linux on a roll-up, which is insane. So now all of a sudden, because the roll-up is Linux, you have access to every developer resource since the beginning of development, period. And people can write any application imaginable on this. You could put Binance Exchange, the SEX, on a Cartesi rollup. You can do machine learning on a Cartesi rollup. You can do verification on a Cartesi rollup. You can do RWA on a Cartesi rollup. You can legit do fucking anything here, anything imaginable. And the examples of code, anything, like the resources, like everything's already out there. So in my opinion, something like this, given time, is inevitable. Mainnet went live a few months ago. Of course, no one gives a fuck, because everybody on crypto Twitter is circle jerking over, being
the shiny new toys,
a dog with a hat, or fucking, trying to get farming their TIA airdrop, or, whatever the fuck these guys are doing. So I think like right now, a really good frame of mind to be in is that there is built through the bear is just as compelling, or even maybe a more compelling narrative than new shiny toy, because built through the bear has, doesn't have this VC supply overhang or any issues like that. A lot of these built through the bear projects, like Cartesi, is on every single tier 1 exchange known to man. It's on Coinbase, it's on Bybit, it's on Binance, it's fucking everywhere. It has amazing liquidity. These built through the bear projects are really, really compelling. And that's like, for me, that was enough, buy it, hold it. I look at the valuation, and I'm like, at some point in this bull market, this is going to be a $1 billion cap project. That's easy money in my pocket. All I have to do is wait. And one of the things I used to say is like, if I told you right now, in January, and I'm not saying Cartesi is a guarantee. There's no fucking guarantees in crypto, right? Anything can fucking happen. But it's like some of these amazing projects, if you can believe in it, and I told you like, hey, all you have to do is just sit on your hands and don't fucking do anything for a year, and you're going to 10x your money. The vast majority of people can't do that, because sitting on your hands is the hardest thing to do. There's so many distractions and things to like bring your attention away, from what's actually happening here. So Cartesi obviously had this recent spike, and I think, once again, buy what you think has a good story that will get shilled. People found tweets from the TIA founder directly shilling Cartesi. I think at the end of November or something. And when I say directly shilling Cartesi, I mean directly shilling, like saying this shit is super undervalued and he has no idea why it's this low. Like
I was
that
gonna
kind of thing.
Yeah, there was some shit that went down for this candle, and I think that's what it was. Somebody like retweeted it, and they're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, people fucking FOMO'd it. But that's the thing. Once again, it's an extremely shillable narrative, and no matter what narrative is popping off and what you believe in, it can be built here. So for me, that was just an easy thing. And look, there are so many charts like this out there that built through the bear are listed on great exchanges. Don't have these VC supply overhangs, really good projects that you can go out there and find right now and buy. And the amazing thing about these projects is because crypto Twitter hasn't gotten their filthy hands on them yet, these projects are still at bear market discounts. So there's multiples here all over the place.
In fact, this thing just printed another weekly W 2 days ago. Very nice looking chart. I strong agree. And I actually did pick this up a month ago after we talked about it. And then, I made like 30-40% return. I saw the daily M and I got out, but I'm like 3 cents off my entry. So probably going to have to go and buy it back. Buy back higher. That's the bull market way. Sell and buy back higher. Sell for profit, buy back higher.
Longer longs.
Yeah. You mentioned basis cash earlier, so I feel compelled to point out that you got to check out DESO. I already told you about it, but
another amazing
the
website.
founder of Basis Cash and it happens to be the most impressive website I've ever seen. Let me pull it up.
Literally award, or at least nominated for design awards.
Wasn't Basis Cash? Wasn't this dude in bed with Do Kwon? Wasn't Do Kwon also one of the founding people in Basis Cash?
I think Do Kwon was involved in Basis Cash. I don't know the connection.
People always ask, what the next Luna is going to be like, right? You always want to be on the next big scam, before it goes up, because scams pump the hardest, right? And I gotta say, like, I've been looking at DESO. I haven't got my entry yet, but it looks badass.
It's coming off. I actually did. I picked some up at 33 on this dip yesterday because I was like, I just keep buying it and put it into this focus thing. But this website, dude, if we're
he's not. This isn't playing right now. You're scrolling, right?
I'm scrolling. I'm just on like a minor scroll.
It's the scroll animation.
This is scroll animation. Like, it's just crazy. It goes on forever.
Like, you talking about like a normie going to this fucking website. The first thing they think is like, oh,
trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
Literally, like, it is a rabbit hole.
What the fuck did they do? Like, they went off on this website. Holy shit.
That's what happens when you raise $120 million or something like $200 million, and then you go quiet for 3 years.
Yeah. But once again, I like this play a lot because it fits into that bucket of like, you don't see the big CT heads talking about this. This isn't a consensus bag.
No, and they not only that, they hate it. Remember how much hate it got? Like, BitClout was like the Antichrist when it came out. And anytime I mention this, still to this day, other than like the echo chamber of DESO itself, or DESO, it's like, oh, isn't that BitClout? Like, they're dead, right? I'm like, perfect. Yes, we're still like each time I hear that, I'm like feeling a little better about adding to my bag. This whole way up, I've just been adding like 13, 22.
Where's like the dream entry for?
Perfect world, we would get some kind of like, we had this huge weekly breakout. Volume did fall off a bit. Purely,
I'm talking about like the stars aligned, and you get the best entry known demand possible.
Yeah, like
$0.
Yeah. You're always going to want to get reload zones when you want to have like the highest conviction for like a safety entry. And that's going to be down in like 15 to 23. That's not the same, to be clear, as calling for those prices, but that's your dream. You have to
make that distinction because people.
You have to, right? Guys are like, he's calling for $20 on Bitcoin. I'm like, no, I'm just saying that's where that would be. Like, right? Like,
and that's a neckline retest too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on down around $22. I picked some up again this morning. Like, I just, and get Rob Levy on here. Like, he'll give you this. His method is just kind of like, it's gonna reprice. It's too cheap. He's like, if someone leaves money on the floor, I'm gonna pick it up. So it's more about like, same with Cartesi, this kind of thing where it's like, this is not a half bill FDV. This should be repriced. So I'm just doing it for the bonus on focus. You get 2 days left. So,
Messi, do you know about the other PICA?
No, I didn't. Or I think you had mentioned it yesterday, or somebody else did, and it asked me to look at it. It's like an IBC layer, Internet of Chains, or something.
They launched on DOT during the crowd loan auctions, and I managed to get some then, which was probably a terrible idea. But anyways, they I don't know what they started off trying to do. But what they are currently doing is connecting Solana to IBC, connecting Ethereum to IBC, and then everyone's all bullish restaking, right? But the problem with that is that EigenLayer itself facilitates restaking, but it means nothing unless you have AVSs, which is alternative validator set, I think, or something like that, which is like actual protocols that want to buy security through restaking. The first AVS to market is probably going to be PICA because their Solana restaking as security for the Picasso chain goes live on the 28th on Sunday.
Okay.
And so before you actually have Ethereum restaking giving you any yield, you're going to have Solana, like, stake JITO stake MSOL. And then they're going to connect Ethereum, and they're probably going to be your best option for bridging between Cosmos, Ethereum, and Solana and DOT. All at the same time, which is just like 20 different narratives wrapped up into one. So I've just been kind of, ever since the retrace that we're almost back at now, I've been like, just been buying.
Look,
at
I've been
100.
accused of being like a massive mid-curver many times. And in many ways, that's true. You know, I do the boomer mid-curver thing well. You know, for me, like the narrative is extremely compelling. The only concern I have, alleviate this concern, is there are people that are up like a gorillion X on that, like super up. And that
PICA,
scares me like hard, especially in this market climate where, you know, like people are not loyal to these bags. Like the rotator energy is so fucking strong right now. And it's, you know, they're just pumping and dumping fucking everything. You look at these meme coins on Solana, and it's interesting because you got like the OG meme coin. Like I can get behind like a thesis on Bonk, right? Because Bonk has this amazing distribution. It's OG. It was the first mover. Everything else on Bonk, you know, you've got that roller coaster meme where you've got the big one and then smaller and smaller. Like,
I think they're wrong about that on Bonk. I think we're on the first loop of leading up to the big roller coaster on Bonk, but on the others, I don't know.
No. Here's I mean, like Bonk is the big first loop,
right?
You know?
Right, yeah.
And all the others are, because the problem is Bonk is bleeding, and Bonk is, as from a mid-curver, you know, boomer retard perspective, that seems like the blue chip meme coin of Solana. You know, and it seems like the one that if one of these is going to pull a shib or do something like that, it's going to be Bonk. You know, 100%. But then you've got the entire community who's over there posting about the dog with the fucking hat on, with, you know, Anita Max Win and all this absolute trash. Not to say like, look, I think all meme coins are fucking trash and I'm not going to ever buy them or touch them, you know, but it seems really interesting. So like for something like PICA, like for me, for like to be personally super interested in it because I love the narrative behind it. I think these like Synapse is another one I think people may be sleeping on. It's hated as fuck, like extremely hated.
Yeah, it talked to a lot of people. Popped like, every time it's about to do something bullish, it cucks. You know.
So Synapse just released an RFQ bridge. That's another big kind of buzzword this cycle in terms of DeFi. You know, what kinds of DeFi is actually exciting right now. And that's RFQ or intent is the buzzword. And it basically the thesis is that like, you know, DeFi, having your TVL, having your money in a contract, you know, or to perform some kind of action, or having money sitting anywhere leaves your money kind of vulnerable. But you can get better execution and better security, you know, through intent-based actions. So with Synapse, that's like, you know, you signal your intent to bridge, you know, 1,000 USDC from Ethereum to Solana or Ethereum to Optimism or wherever, and you've got a solver, kind of like CalSwap, that will actually fill that intention for you and make that happen for you. And it kind of offloads all the risk, you know, to this advanced actor, you know, versus like, I guess where
dumb smart contract logic.
Yeah, dumb smart contract logic, you know, was there behind before. But I think this is really interesting here. And if you haven't used the bridge, you know, another intent-based bridging technology is Across. It uses UMA's optimistic oracles for bridging, and it's really, really nice. I mean, you can bridge somewhere in like 10 seconds. It's a really nice experience.
Sorry, which one's that? Is that with Synapse?
No, Synapse has an intent-based bridge, and also I think Across ACX has one too. And you can see ACX has been a really, really strong performer.
Let's check it out.
Do you fuck with Anoma and Namada for intents?
To be honest, bro, I think I've heard of Anoma, but I have no idea what Namada is. Or
it's like it's built on Anoma, right? It's intense based like privacy Cosmos chain. I think there was an airdrop, but it's just the first one built on Anoma, right?
The pure privacy narrative that looks cooked. The pure privacy narrative is one I've always had a hard time getting behind. You know, just because
Me too.
like, yeah, like in an ideal world, like that stuff would be going effing crazy, you know, but in our world, like people have this mindset that like, I don't have anything to hide, you know, like,
yeah, professionally, I came up in the golden era of Facebook advertising. And so my opinion on how much people give a shit about privacy is cooked. Like, I don't think people care.
They don't at all.
Talk to me
But
about
then RT made the point
IntentX.
that like institutions care, which I get behind that totally. But
Let's talk about IntentX a little bit. I'm itching to discuss it. We've mentioned it on stream before. You know, full disclosures, my fund led their round. I know you got a piece. Been bullish on it. We've been in the chat with them. And when you talk about intents, this is always the thing that comes to my mind.
I interviewed their CEO. It was actually a pretty cool interview.
Yeah, and you
Levy.
interviewed them too, Jedi. Yeah.
Levy is one of the most impressive founders I have ever come across in my 10 years.
He's all over the place.
He's incredible.
Amazing. Yeah.
Very sharp. Yeah.
so
Canadian
are they aggregating through like intent-based tech, like perpetual fills, or like how is this intent-based? How does it work under the hood? Does anyone know?
So it connects to a backend called Symio, SYMMIO. Symio was developed by the guys who created Deus, D-E-U-S, I guess. Yeah. Deus OG DeFi protocol had their fair share of mishaps, but they built Symio because of what they saw happening in DeFi, which is basically that like, it doesn't matter how fucking good you are, like you get hacked. Like we've seen Curve have exploits. Like, and we're talking like when I think about something like Curve or YFI, like having an exploit, like none of your shit is safe because those guys are the biggest gigabrains in the EVM development space, period. You know, they're the guys in the war rooms that are helping, like, you know, when shit's hitting the fan, they're there, you know, to figure it out, to, you know, try to stop it, whatever. So basically Symio like has this network of solvers. And what happens is they pre-solve these intents and feed it to the end user as a perpetual exchange. But what's happening at the other end is just an advanced counterparty with hedging capabilities taking your trade. And as more solvers are added to the network, you know, more liquidity sources, more open interest, better spreads, et cetera, become available. But if I say I want to long, you know, $10,000 worth of Bitcoin right here, you know, the solver is the counterparty, and we both have collateral locked in those Symio contracts that facilitate the trade. So the trade, you know, the execution of the profit is guaranteed. But the solver is supposed to be hedging their side of the exposure as an advanced actor. So that's like, this provides a lot of advantages over a typical perpetual swap because you can aggregate in time every single source of liquidity in DeFi and even outside of DeFi. Like let's say that there's a solver that wants to offer, you know, stocks or things like that, and they're going to hedge and they're going to interact with the exchanges and do the things necessary, you know, to mute their risk and their side of that trade and their exposure. Like they can do that. Just overall though, look, the interface is super impressive. The founder is super impressive. Obviously, like points are just so gross and disgusting right now. Like everybody's so sick of points, you know, but I think that there's going to be a token here pretty soon.
Yeah, the TGE is slated for Q1, Q2. I don't want to give it a date. I don't know it, but I'm imagining it's pre-end of Q2 for sure. You know, look, the points thing is getting old. I think what's interesting though is like part of maybe why it's getting old is because there's not been a lot of point conversions, right? Like even Friendtech was like an August hype, and everyone's like, I got my Friendtech points. Well, they're still poor. Like they don't have any money for those points, right? So once this point kind of avalanche comes through and perhaps they all flip into dollars and dollars, you know, add up, people might like points again. But right now,
Toby had a great take on points.
Oh yeah,
it's like it works.
Yeah,
I think
it works.
So. Something but like the Blur founder kind of popularized it by making Blur work really well with points, and then all these other protocols like are using it because it works. Like if it didn't work, like they wouldn't use it.
It does, and I think the ambiguity is what I guess. Like I haven't done a lot of point farming, just same as you, Messi. Just been busy doing some stuff, but I think it's the ambiguity that's driving people nuts, right? They're like, I don't know how much this is worth, and it's, you know, it's not being converted. So, but I don't think people, Yeah, I don't think people are going to be too disappointed at all with IntentX points.
It's also like, hey
what-
man, if you want mass adoption and you want crypto to trend more towards like the rest of the economy, you better get used to points, because they're not giving out like straight cash rewards on any other platforms. It's all points. Like this is like Delta miles, right? Like it's
Well, that's why, yeah,
mileification.
that's the take that I heard that was kind of interesting. It's kind of like we had air miles in the 90s, you know, like we went to points, and then, you know, crypto enabled this idea of like giving out ownership, some tokens, the actual value, and then now we've like regressed back. But look, one of the things I just want to say about IntentX that I love is that the efficiency of it allows for so many pairs, right? There's no liquidity being put up on any of these pairs until I say, okay, I want to go and I want to long this token. And then as I put that in, there's a solver there that's basically like, okay, I can offset my risk on this exchange. I'll give you that action. And so it's not like you have to have like 10 million. Yeah, you don't have to have like a $10 million liquidity pool on each pair, right? It's just like it's sitting there, basically a mirror or an extension of something like a Binance, OKX, whatever else, wherever the solver is operating. So yeah, it's a pretty sweet new thing. I think it's going to be a hot.
Look, it's my understanding too that the actual positions are isolated. You know, the risk of the positions are isolated within the solver too. So we've seen some really interesting scenarios, even with like what are considered extremely blue chip decentralized exchanges like DYDX, to where there was an issue or an incident with YFI a month or two ago. It might have been 3 months ago. I don't know. I've got crypto brain, but you know, it ate up like half of their risk fund, you know, just to kind of make it right. Yeah. It was like this massive pump and dump kind of manipulation. So that's really interesting. And I think, you know, the many decentralized exchanges, you know, have a lot to figure out in terms of, you know, how do we account for, you know, how do we have a risk engine that's good, that's solid, that works? Because, you know, something like IntentX, you know, there's no need for a risk engine because your risk is isolated to the position. And then the hedgers theoretically, right, are accessing these really robust risk engines on Binance and other places. So
I gotta say, I'm so curious, and I was saying this yesterday, but like to see who wins out, all right, and to see what that means to win out in just say perp dexes. Like there are so many perp dexes.
There are a lot. You're going to see winners. You're going to see winners across the board. You know, like
I think from here, yeah. But like 10 years, come on, 2030.
You see what Apex tokens?
Show me the top 100 in 7 years. What's that?
Did you see what the Apex token did?
Did like 20x. This shit went
dude,
crazy.
And it's sad because we were trading on there. We should have been on that one.
I mid-curved that.
For
so
real,
I didn't buy it.
checked all my accounts. Like, what the fuck? How did I not get any of this token?
It was a weird token, dude. Like this thing just screams. I don't want to use the M word because it's overused, like manipulation, whatever. But it was just it's Bybit's play toy. You know, I was watching it come off here for weeks and weeks, like months, I guess, right? Really through like March to October. And as most things, you know, you look left, you miss it. But holy fuck, dude.
That's a rip.
And they've got a good DEX. I was using Apex. They have a mobile app. It's basically like Bybit on chain, but it's got like 20 pairs instead of 200. And the liquidity is way worse, or at least it was a few months ago. But this could be one of them, right? There's going to be some winners, big winners.
Hyperliquid's a big hyped one, right?
Hyperliquid. I actually used. I feel bad. I talked to the guys. Try out our beta. I never circle back.
Oh, good, dude. I don't know how they're whatever illegal thing they're doing to pull off what they're doing. It's keep doing it.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. So IntentX is probably, you know, peak excitement. I like, you know, PepperDex is building on Hxro Network right now as well. They're coming up.
Be cool.
Very excited.
Dude, Heroes are one of the only green things during the dump. I keep seeing it in my watch list. Like, how is this thing holding up so well?
Yeah. How is Hxro doing? I haven't checked on it. We're up 0.01 today. Woo-woo.
Yeah. But I mean, like through this, what you're looking at. Oh, Jesus.
That's the daily. Yeah. It's not my favorite right now, but it's parked. It's parked at the 786. I mean, we've talked about Hxro quite a bit on the show, obviously, but I think it's what it needs is apps operating on it with volume. And there's just like a wave of them coming right now. So I'm chilling.
The interesting thing about DeFi and why I used to like trading it so much is because the upside appreciation was something that you could like kind of see in advance. Like the growth always started happening before the price started going up. And that's why I think every DeFi protocol, if you want to get the word out and you want to get like eyes, you want to get people looking, you need really, really good analytics. I was balls deep in doing analytics and also custom analytics pages, all these things are built because you can start seeing traction before price reacts.
Yeah. Well, like your PICA analytics page, which in that sense, it actually was more, it was painting like a red flag almost because you had like 40 active traders. Like it was the inverse effect of that. But that's exactly that kind of thing where you just start to see the volume pick up, the daily active users, whatever. I love that kind of stuff, the asymmetric information.
Pretty sweet times for like mid to right curve folks where you could learn everything about curve wars and actually make money off of that knowledge. Like those were like great days for DeFi when knowledge was actually like kind of a currency. Whereas like in this meme coin environment, it's not so much like deep mechanics, like knowledge. It's just like having quick info that matters.
Hey, there's somebody in the YouTube chat. I just want to address this. Crypto Jake. Could you tell SYN to drop their token in Q1? He's getting, quote, wrecked on Deus. I hope you realize that you had to put your Deus in the migration contract before the end of December. So if you're just holding raw Deus right now, you're not getting any SYN.
Uh-oh.
Damn.
And that's why it's getting wrecked.
So Deuce is falling off now because the deadline to put it in the migration contract ended December 1st?
December 31st.
31st.
Yeah.
So end of year. Oh, fuck. Jake, please tell me you got your shit. Okay. He says I did. Oh, whew.
Then look. You no longer have Deus. Okay. You have SYN, not Deus. So you can't, the Deus price has nothing to do with the SYN price at all. The tokens haven't been dropped yet, but I wouldn't look at it that way because Deus doesn't translate to that anymore.
Oh, good. I was scared. I thought Jake was going to say what migration?
Yeah, you had me sweating. I started to feel bad for you for a second, but I'm glad you were on top of it.
Yeah, good man. All right.
Yeah,
Sim's going to be a good drop this year.
I need to know about ALEPH, please, or ALEPH.
Let's talk ALEPH. Yeah. It's leading the day.
So, okay, DePIN. Really, really interesting category. And I think one of the most interesting parts about DePIN is that even more, and look, you look at crypto, period, right? You can say that the vast majority of all this shit is vapor, right? But this particular category, DePIN, has some of the most vapor I've ever seen in any category of crypto ever. There's vapor fucking everywhere because you can DePIN is like, remember in 2017 when people were like doing ICOs for like, hey, you can pay for a fucking parking spot in this parking garage with crypto. Like that's like DePIN. Okay. So there's actually very, very few projects in DePIN that are really good. So DePIN's going to have a lot of growth, right? There's Golfin, I think, which everyone is really excited about. You've got Helium, which has real users, a badass use case that everybody's really excited about. That's going to grow, I think, especially when more people start realizing. But there's this other category of DePIN to where you have actually like decentralized compute infrastructure. And you've got multiple things in that category that are legitimate. Well, Akash, which is 500 million cap plus. As far as I know, and I could be totally wrong about this, the developers got rich as fucking hell and don't really have a reason to grind on the project anymore.
Which one's that? Akash?
That's Akash. That's just what I've heard through the grapevine. It's $500 million cap. I'm not too excited about a $500 million cap. And look, I think the chart looks pretty good, and I think that it's going to
back.
It's going to go up.
Yeah. But
at the same time, like, I want a fucking hero moment, and I want a hero trade. Like, I'm not going to be a hero buying a cash at $500 million market cap.
Right.
I'm just not. So, one of the most powerful narratives in the world right now, not just crypto, is artificial intelligence. And there's actually this cool chart that somebody sent me at some point to where I think it was the end of 23, beginning of 24. A lot of the big money players in the space were interviewed, Coinbase, A16Z, et cetera, on what are you super bullish on for this coming cycle. Across the board, all of them are bullish on DePIN. Okay. And there's particular ones that even say, I'm bullish on DePIN as backend infrastructure for artificial intelligence. So we've seen OpenAI kind of leading the way, ChatGPT. I don't know if you guys have used it. Anybody listening, if you haven't used it, go use this shit. It's fucking awesome. And pay the $20 a month, get GPT-4, get the good one, try it out, use it. If you don't like it, just
we
cancel
tortured RT with it for literally weeks.
2 weeks of friggin'
Shit,
Giggle Town.
It's badass. Okay. But the really crazy thing, and there's going to be a shit ton of growth and actual open source community driven AI moving forward. You already start to see it happen. There's tons of models. Hxro is one of them. You've got the Hermes family of models. These models are really fucking good and they're totally open source. Okay. So what really caught my eye with ALEPH was when everybody was circle jerking super hard over BitTensor, right? So BitTensor has this LLM assistant called Cortel. And Cortel is really fucking good. Okay. So before the BitTensor army comes after me and they're like, hey, you're talking shit about my bags or whatever. Like, I'm not saying that at all. Okay. BitTensor is really cool. But at the same time, like, once again, call me a mid-curver, but I am not buying somebody's fucking huge multiple. I'm just not, sorry. That's not what I'm doing. Like,
but it's only 33 mil FDV, Messi.
Yeah, look, you are buying my multiple.
That's just
not the other way around. That's how this works. Okay. And I will Wojak and mid curve and cope on the sidelines, all damn day, but that's just the way we do things here. So I went and used this thing called Libertai, which is a decentralized LLM framework.
Awesome.
It's like ChatGPT. It's awesome. And it's built on top of ALEPH. ALEPH is a decentralized AWS. And one of the really interesting things about ALEPH relative to the other kind of solutions in the space is that they really focused on, what people that would go use AWS, would actually be using. So I can go, kind of like Lambda functions on ALEPH, serverless compute. I can go to ALEPH and set up an instance. They have private instances coming. And there's all of this numerology and shit associated with it too. And we don't have enough time to actually go down that rabbit hole. But look into 26 and 11 and all the shit these guys have been posting. The development team, really, really top-notch guys. And these are guys that are hungry. These are guys that don't have, to my knowledge, $1 gazillion that they've made from their project. They have to work. Okay. They have to work for this bag and they have to pump this bag. It's the only way. Okay. It's the only thing. So
is that why you tweeted the number 26 today? I was trying to.
Yeah, I tweeted the number 26 because that's like part of this whole thesis behind it. But the thing is you're looking at a working reel with lots of compute available, with private compute coming and many other things coming as well. Network that's not a blockchain network, that is real DePIN live right now that you can go use right now. It's on Coinbase, it has great liquidity on Uniswap, and it's at this really attractive valuation. It's so cheap because they had this deal with SBF where they were in bed with Serum and they were going to provide the DePIN backend infrastructure to make Serum really, really badass. So I think that association with SBF and Solana, when FTX kind of went through all that shit and we went through all that fear, really destroyed this project. I started aping around 10 cents, or not 10 cents. What are we at now?
21
cents.
21. Yeah. So I started aping around 10 cents. And I did do a little bit of vertical accumulation, as I've been known to do.
I can see it on the chart. And side note, we talk about this a lot, but when you get these green wicks on Coinbase, it always seems
charge just Messi candles.
Yeah.
Full disclosure. Okay. I need to, everybody needs to know about this project. Sometime in December, the FTX liquidation estate sent around 59 million ALEPH to Coinbase. Those coins since have left Coinbase and entered multiple wallets. And every now and then, some of these wallets these coins have gone back to Coinbase, which then sends coins to an arbitrage bot that dumps on Uniswap. So I actually talked to the founder of ALEPH, Mush, directly about this. And I said, hey, man, look, I'm really excited about this and everything, but like, and look, you could just tell me to fuck off too. Like, cause I understand this is like a pretty direct line of questioning, but like, am I going to get dumped on here? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, should I be worried about this? And some of those coins are Alameda coins. But it's my understanding, direct word of mouth from him, and he could be lying to me. I don't know, but that's not his character, you know, based on discussions I've had with people that know him. They filed legal paperwork to get a lot of those coins back. They were market making agreement coins with Alameda. So, yeah.
Yeah, when you mentioned the moving around and the arbitrage, and you just obviously like, it sounds like market makers, but these green wicks are usually a really good sign. I wish I had seen them sooner. This is what got me, you know, aping in like twice as hard into HNT earlier in the year, because you'd see these wicks. It was a lower time frame. It was before this breakout, but like these lower time frames, and it's just kind of like, as Rob would describe, he's like, it's just somebody with a deep pocket who doesn't really understand markets, who maybe just got information or they have, and they're just market buy. They don't care. These little space.
Well, there was this piece of shit that I was fighting on chain. Okay. I don't know if you guys have any on chain nemesis like types. I encounter them sometimes. And when I was trying to accumulate this and like, you know, make the chart look kind of good as I was doing, I was trying to be mindful of how I accumulated it. Okay. How about that? And as I was doing this, there's this piece of shit with like 250 grand in his wallet that is day trading ALEPH for 2% here, 1.5% there, with $200,000 on a $30 million market cap coin. So every single time the chart looked great, boop, this dude smashes it down. Every single time it looks bad, boop, this guy FOMOs in. So finally, I'm like, okay, motherfucker, like I wait for this guy to sell. You know, I'm watching his activity on chain. I wait for him to sell. And I just said, no, boom, 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 boom. And I started hammering it because I want him to get priced out. I'm fucking sick of him, you know, playing this little fucking game and making the chart look weird. And you can see how spiky the chart looks. That's him.
Yeah.
It's him, but he has been defeated. He's been slain. we took him out on a stretcher.
We owe you a debt, sir. I wish we had this chat 12 hours ago. But no, for real, I was looking around this morning talking about turnaround Tuesday, and I was, you know, sometimes it catches you off guard, and it was like, I'm even in a pretty heavy cash position, and I wanted to puke this morning. So I was like, this has to be like a local pivot for, you know, a couple days, weeks, whatever, and maybe that's it. So I was looking for buys, and I did not circle around to ALEPH.
RT, like talking about shitcoins is great and all, and of course I love doing so. But can we just talk about for a second, like the vibes and the energy, you know, on crypto Twitter and in the room? Yeah. Because look, and I understand like crypto Twitter is very negative right now. Every morning you log on and I see 50 posts saying, fuck Barry Silbert, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, these ETFs are a mistake. The ETF inflows have been positive on net. Like,
yeah, I was going to say.
Barry Silbert is not dumping this market. You know, that's us. Like, that's natural shit. And RT said, you know, hey, this is going to be a sell the news event. And it was. We're down 20% from the top now. Like, I think the most important thing to do, and like, I'm not concerned with being right on now we are bullish, and now because we are going down, we are bearish, and now we are bullish again. Like, in the grand scheme of things, the important thing to remember here, before you chop yourself up, do stupid fucking things and lose all your money, is that we are bullish, period. Like, we just had Bitcoin fundamentally right now, today, is more bullish than it has ever been in the history of Bitcoin, period. We just had 11 Bitcoin ETFs come online. That the funnel to buy this bag just got enormous. You're going to see retarded shit. You're going to see the Saudis buying. You're going to see fucking governments buying, pensions buying, 401ks buying, passive flows into Bitcoin. In my opinion, this is it. This is it. This is over. This is the super cycle, because when you get this much money slamming into Bitcoin, there is legitimately not anyone left to buy it, to be the greater fool and to buy this digital rock any longer after this cycle. Like, you might see Bitcoin kind of behave like gold after what's about to happens. And it could be boring. You know, it's not to say that we're not going to make money here and, you know, do our shitcoins and stuff like that. But right now, like, and I mean this, you better get fucking bullish mindset. That doesn't mean take all your fucking cash and FOMO into the biggest shitcoin, you know, you can find today. It means you get a bullish fucking attitude right now. You get a bullish fucking mindset, and you just strap in and hold, because if you miss this bull market, it's over for you. Okay. Artificial intelligence is going to take your job. You are going to be living on universal basic income. It is fucking over for you. You're not going to make it. I need you guys to get in the headspace. Or what if we go to 35K? Who gives a fuck? You know, do you understand where we are going? Like, it is so much higher. It is ridiculous. And it doesn't matter what happens between now and then. The fact of the matter is, by the end of 2025, you will be looking at yourself, and you will remember this day, and you will say, why didn't I fucking buy with everything I fucking possibly fucking could right at that moment?
Before you make me out to be the bear, Jedi, I'd like to ask you, who's the most bullish, ridiculous tard on this stream talking about hypercycle, super cycle for last year? You always say it to me. You're like, RT, you're so bullish. It hurts.
It's Rob Levy, dude. You're not even.
Rob lives on a certain wavelength I can't quite tap into. But don't make me out to be the bear, because before everyone on crypto Twitter turned Wojak, I just said, look, guys, this is just the way it's going to go. It's going to rally into the event, and everyone who rips in to buy on the event's going to get crushed. And it's not about, and you're absolutely right? Like, the net vibe should be like focusing on getting long, whatever. And that's really where I'm at. And so, for what it's worth, anybody who paid attention to my analysis would be in a great position now to buy the dip.
There's a distinction here, and your analysis is honorable. And the distinction is that you are a trader. I am not. Okay.
You're a trader. You're a trader.
In a sense, yes. But you are very technical. You know, my trading is a little bit of voodoo, you know, and a little bit of gut feel. And like, you're looking to get,
show me your fans. Show me you got a wicked fan system. No, but I get what you're saying. And I'm actually on the same tip as far as just trying to find good positions where I can just sit back and like the best gains come from like that 5-10x rotation compounding shit that really you taught me back in 2021. So that's more my vibe. But this was such an event. I mean, come on. Like, for me, it was more like, you know, October, November, December were so good, and I didn't want to give it all back. Because that's usually what happens, right? And then this dip will end when you're basically break even on Q4, and then it's like more up, and that's a really gross feeling. I've been there before. So, all that to say, I am only looking for ways to get longer in the market. It's just that I need to let this play out a little bit. But I love that your bag specifically, CTSI and ALEPH, like, don't give a fuck.
I've got Dusk really too. Nice pick. Dusk does not give a fuck.
Dusk was so good.
Really nice picks, dude.
Look, Dusk is absolute god tier bag. Okay, these guys have been building for 5 fucking years. You've got L1 mainnet coming live in just a few months. You know, I think the estimation is March or April. The last gigapump we saw in Dusk was when they had their last incentivized testnet. That's coming up February 1st. These guys just made a deal with DWF, who is the scumbag VC of this cycle. Everything DWF buys goes to the moon.
The literal cartel.
Yeah, they are. DWF is the fucking cartel.
Yeah.
DWF. So DWF is interesting, you know, and the thing that's interesting about them, when I say like they're the scumbag VC of the cycle, I don't like mean that directly, but they are actually like, they're market makers, but they are bullish people. Like that's what's interesting about them.
This is when they made their spell governance proposal.
They like wrecking shorts hard.
They said they were gonna market make on centralized exchanges for spell. They put out a big governance proposal, and that marked the low, and it was a very aggressive low.
GWF is a wrecking ball for shorts. 100%.
Pull up the TRB chart.
Was that them?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Them. It is 100% them. They wait until short interest builds on this thing, and then they just fucking send it. Yeah. And the thing is if you try to get on board that send, they'll just wreck you too. Like, they don't give a fuck. Like, they just don't want anyone on board for when they wreck
everybody off.
Get the fuck out. Yeah. It's terrible. Like, you can't do volume on this thing. If you do volume on this thing, they're gonna spot you, and like the sniper target like triangulates like to your fucking exact position, and they just liquidate you.
Dusk has played out really beautifully for all the fib type trading. I picked some up for the fun back in like, I guess, October, September. But I mean, you can see it here each time it peels off into these like reload zones, even off that low.
Look, Dusk
before,
is sitting on
right?
an absolute launch pad.
It just
And-
loves it. Yeah.
And Dusk is on like in the same vein of things that it's just like this thing is like 80 million FTV. Like, and you just look at what it is and you're like, this is $1 billion cap project. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because it's not only is it an L1, but it is an RWA play. And that's the really important thing, because I categorize RWA plays into one of two categories. You got category one, which is basically just bullshit stuff. That's like Ondo. Sorry, I know probably some of you just bought that and you're excited about it. You just bought brand new Sam coin.
Are you saying Ondo doesn't equal a condo?
No,
Ondo's the condo?
it equals a fucking condo at the bottom of the ocean. Okay. But look, here's the thing. Category one, okay, that's where we are tokenizing these assets and putting the assets on chain. Why the fuck does that make any sense at all? It doesn't make any sense to me. Crypto degens are here for one thing, and that is to gamble. I do not want to go buy on-chain treasury bonds with extra fees, extra steps, extra bullshit in the way. Who the fuck wants to do that? Nobody, okay? Now you got category two of RWA plays. This is Dusk. This is Avalanche Evergreen. Old RT bag, Everest ID.
Bro, I just bought some during this stream. How did you know?
I know you, bro.
I scooped some up. I scooped some up because I was early in the stream, bro. I was picking this up.
There are very few actual real RWA plays out there. And the incredible thing about the real RWA plays is they have the capability, and think about how big this narrative is. They have the capability to transform TradFi, okay? Period. TardFi. Let's call it TardFi. Because you can now, all the shit that happens in TardFi, you can introduce T+0 settlement, you can introduce massive cost reductions, et cetera. So you say, well, why would fucking BlackRock or VanEck or any of these fucking guys be interested in this crypto, blah, blah, blah. Well, the thing is they absolutely fucking are. If you look on Twitter right now, the VanEck CEO has specifically mentioned Dusk before. And other bigwig VanEck guys have specifically talked about Dusk. Why are they talking about an $80 million FTV, crypto shitcoin? Because it's not. The shit is big, okay? And the big players are aware of it, and this is going to change everything. Like, that's all you need to know. That's the narrative, okay? And that's what can be sold. You need to find good stories to get behind, and this is an amazing story. So, fun facts about Dusk. They actually, the developers are absolute god tier. They wrote these things called the Poseidon papers. Mina, another ZKL1, used the hashing algorithm describing the Poseidon papers. Mina is multi-billion-dollar market cap. Okay, multi-billion-dollar market cap L1. L1, ZK, RWA, it's the trifecta, and this shit is cheap, extremely fucking cheap. And you've got a catalyst too. I love catalysts. Because we know, like right now, I'm not going to say Dusk is going to be, $10 billion market cap in 2 months, right? But we know that there's a good reason for this shit to go up in the near term. So in terms of like from a trader perspective, I'm interested in this for all of those reasons.
Beautiful. God, you delivered the best shills.
Dude,
you just do. I'm too vanilla with my shills. I got to get my shill game on. I missed it, bro. I missed it.
You gotta like unleash the inner ape. You have to feel the energy. Yeah. And once again, I was posting on Twitter today about like why I'm bullish, and it's because I fucking believe. This is a religion, and I fucking believe in it. You can talk about the charts, you can talk about the flows, you can talk about shit all day. I believe in the fundamentals, and I think that crypto as a category, like what's that saying, like first they fight you, blah blah blah, and you win. Like we are winning, we're kicking fucking ass right now. We're beating the shit out of the SEC. We have 11 spot ETFs live on Bitcoin. The context, once again, the important word, the context here is that we are bullish as fuck, and you are not bullish enough, period. So everybody, I wish I could just make this huge public service announcement and people would actually listen to me. Like, stop fucking crying on Twitter because of Barry Silbert and all this bullshit. Like, all will be forgiven. It will all be okay.
He
Just survive.
The thing is that he doesn't actually work for them anymore, so they're dunking on the wrong guy.
You know, it's actually
Well,
funny.
because he said
morning,
weak equals big or some shit, and he does that at the top every time.
This morning, I was like looking at the GBTC shit, and I was like, GBTC's sending all this fucking BTC to Coinbase, but who's their custodian? And then I went and I looked it up, and they actually changed custodians for their ETF filing to Coinbase. So where was it before? Like,
that's a good
basically,
question.
like, you know what I mean? Like, they are sending it to their new custodian. Like, you know,
it's look, it's all stupid. Like, it's like, let's find some reason why number go down.
Right.
It's the number went up. You know, number went up. People were in profit. They wanted to protect their profit. And then the second knock-on effect of that is people who bought near the highs that don't want to, you know, they're getting wrecked. So then they puke. Like, there's just more sellers in this chart than there are buyers, or at least there has been until today. I think today, or very nearabouts, is, like you said, you know, gigabounce town. And if we were going to go, you know, trade into these kinds of levels, which is where everyone suddenly wants to short to, I think there's a decent chance we don't get there in a straight line anyway. So for what it's worth, your resident bear for the last 2 weeks, just calling out some warnings, short term, midterm.
Dude,
I have now picked up my bet again, so I am longer than you all now.
I know
so
where you fucking live, bro. I will find you.
Take
Never
that,
let me
Bulls.
catch you being bearish again. Ever.
Dude, I fucking nailed it. I
We
just
had
want
to
to
use
say, I don't
ChatGPT to make a fantastical, mythical land where RT could not be bearish. That's
it was the
literally what we
biggest
had.
top signal. They literally made up a whole like giggly world of like the mayor and all this shit. And I was the ridiculous.
God.
Look, I don't toot my horn too often, but I said this is going to be the fucking top, and today I fucking longed, and that's the end of it.
You did call it. You called it.
So we'll see where we go from here.
The
The fact that I
like a boss, dude, and
just
I
one
One
it
of
when
the
you told me
midterm
to.
coach coins happened
off
to
get off me. And really, my take, my longer term thesis is very much in line with what Messi's saying today, which is this kind of like hyper cycle, this super cycle. I said we're all going to sell too soon.
Shit is going to be crazy.
You know, it's going to be January 1st, 2026, and everyone's going to be the smartest person in the world. They're going to sell, and then they're going to get left behind.
Look, I always ask people, because people, you know, are you early or you're late? You're so fucking early in the grand scheme of things, you know, to this hyper move. Like, because let me ask you something. Does the biggest like retard, you know, is he a millionaire because he bought a monkey JPEG for $300? Like, no, he's not. Like, you think the shenanigans we saw last time were insane. You're going to see equivalents to that this cycle too. And of course, the whole NFT movement seems to have migrated to Bitcoin, you know, which is fantastic. Because once again, like it's a new like source of untapped shitcoiner energy and shitcoin money, you know, that's coming into the gambling. Yeah, old money. These guys have been on the sidelines forever, you know, as purists, you know, religious zealots, like watching everybody else have fun and do fun things with their money and their coins. Like now there's this movement. There's a pure way for these people to gamble away their Bitcoins. It's incredible. Incredible technology.
Speaking of untapped shitcoiner energy and gambling away Bitcoins, are you into BRC20s?
Look, I'm not. I'm too fucking old for that shit. Okay, I'm too old. I'm
How
too
old are you?
lazy. I'm 35.
I'm 34, dude. Is it next year when I'll stop doing BRC20?
I don't know, bro. I'm too
Crypto
fucking tired.
boomers.
I've seen too much for that shit. You know, it's my understanding that the UX right now, and look, this is where you find the gold, right?
Dog shit. Yeah.
But the UX is like Ether Delta, or maybe even worse. Like,
Am I the only one who had no idea how complex Bitcoin, the chain, was until this shit? And then I tried to look into it, and I was like,
yeah, what the fuck is all this shit?
Like, there's 100 little bits of data per transaction. I'm like,
It's
just
definitely complex
10.
if you don't.
Way too.
If you're used to EVM and
Yes.
and you don't understand UTXO
Like
model for
ERC,
sure.
So I have like 10 to 15 sub 10K ordinals. I was in there week one, like this is gonna be, and then BRC20s I got left behind, but I'm holding them. The floor's coming up. Let's see how they do in 5 years.
So somebody's asking me, what do you think the crypto market cap comes to the height of this coming bull? So 10 trillion. That's the exact number I was going to say. That's the market cap of gold. And that's when people are really going to be euphoric. You're going to see posts all over the timeline, fuck you, Peter Schiff, you fucking idiot, blah, blah, blah. Like, get the fuck out when you see that shit, because like, we're going to be on the fucking moon. We're all going to be geniuses. Just remember in that moment. I always say the most powerful tool you have is your own emotions. People act like, the best traders are not emotional people. I think that that's like the lamest statement I've ever heard, because you have to be emotional to be a trader. The most important thing here is to be able to listen to your own emotions, because if you're feeling a certain way, other people are feeling the same way. And if you can understand that and kind of twist it and bend it to your will and your advantage, like, it's a really, really powerful tool.
Oh, that moment in Discord when Popsicle Finance was at $60 and we were
everybody's celebrating and posting gifs and shit. You see that in Discord, you get the fuck out of Discord, and you get to your like best aggregator. I like swap.defilama.com, and you start selling aggressively. You dump on all those motherfuckers. They're not even looking at the chart. They're too busy circle jerking.
I want to talk about Popsicle Finance.
Yeah, let's not bring it up, dude.
Chaos PRZ is at $11 trillion if you grab this whole bear market and express it.
Did Chaos's hit? Did Chaos's hit on the last cycle?
Let's go have a look.
I would love to know that.
I bet they did. They always do.
What are your top 3 conviction plays right now? Like, if you had to pick your top 3.
Well, I mean, I've got 3 big bags on. That's Dusk, CTSI, and ALEPH. And once again, like, there's a lot of negative energy, around Twitter and stuff right now. I don't feel it because my shit's doing really good. It's not like Dusk is mooning or anything, but it's not dumping either. Because here's the thing: like, you find this actual like value with great story behind it, something that hasn't pumped, that has this amazing chart, and in moments like this where people are really freaking out, there's people buying this shit. There is.
Yeah.
Are you into Pocket at all? Have you heard anything about it?
I mid-curve Pocket so fucking hard because they had a lot of unlocks come up, and somebody told me this isn't like Messi original advice. Somebody told me one of the most powerful things you can do is don't just chart the price, chart the market cap. It's something I've been doing more recently, and I charted the market cap for Pocket, and I was like, holy shit, like, because there was these massive unlocks. So I was like, I'm not buying these massive unlocks. And look at that shit.
There's
it's
the market
crazy.
cap.
Like, I've been kind of just checked out / like bearish scalper since like 2022 basically. But the last thing I did, like my last big play of 2021, was Pocket, where I was like buying at OTC, just like making nodes with a third-party node provider, and just like ran it the fuck up, and then got out at the right time. And then when I first got back to being like really bullish, like, in 2023, I was like, what if Pocket again? Like, I have no fun.
Badass. Like, the amount of like entrenchment that Pocket, like, I'm trying to like think about the right way to say this. Like, they have made the right partnerships, have the right integrations. They've really built this really nice mode for themselves. I think it's an incredible project, an incredible coin. And it's something I've actually it's on my watch list. I look at it every day. Like, please. I
think you're going to get like 13. I think about 13, 14 cents you're going to get.
Literally parked on the pump chaser today, 382 to the T.
What's the reload? I bet it's 13.7 or 13.7.
11 to 14. Yeah, like more 9 to 14. Yeah.
Here's the story behind this, though. I mean, you look at the valuations of Infura, Alchemy. I mean, we're talking multi-billions. So to be able to own this DePIN infrastructure, that can really compete with these guys, and in many instances out-compete them, is a really special thing.
Did you know they're AI now too?
Even fucking better. Let's go.
Sprinkle some AI sauce on top of it.
Messi, have you had a chance to read that research paper that 563 wrote for Blockmates?
No, I haven't. Please send it to me.
You must check it out, dude. It's on DePIN. It's your kettle of fish. You'll love it.
I love the, you know, I called my bags the mid curver make it stack. And like, you know, you can be over there like doing your gigabrain or left curve stuff and buying your dog with a hat or whatever. But to me, there's nothing more satisfying. Like I will have the biggest paper hands in the world if I don't actually believe what I'm buying. Like I have to really believe in the story, because on those days when it's hard, you know, on those days where you're like really having the temptation to sell or you're freaking out, you know, if you don't have that underlying like genuine belief in it, you're going to fumble the bag every time. Or at least I am. Maybe probably some of you guys have stronger hands than me. But like I
Strong
believe
hands
in
are
these bags.
forged in the research, though.
I
right?
believe
like,
in these bags.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
do.
No, seriously, like my first, because Pocket's like last cycle research, so I can't really say that's this cycle. But like my first conviction bag was just going in deep on PICA and understanding like what's going on there. I totally agree. Like if that's what you're calling like the mid curve play, like another big play for me last cycle was like CVX, and that was all based on just knowing everything about it. Like,
yeah.
So
you knew that shit was going higher. You knew that DAOs were accumulating. You knew that Terra Luna, like it's
Well, and that's this DESO, as Toast pointed out in the chat. What did you say? Like I have like an over, like the focus level. You had a way of putting it. You're basically like, it's not that it's the most bullish bag, it's just that's the one you focused on the most. Because it's the first time in a long time that I just did the deep dive research. I read the fucking white paper. Like I haven't read a white paper.
It's the one you have that conviction on.
And so now all I can think about today, I'm like, damn, I gotta buy more of that. Like, it's just
I really
about accumulate.
I really do want a DESO bag. And so like I pray for your bags. I really do.
Join us, brother.
But at the same time, like I am praying this thing goes to Hades and goes to Goblin Town, because I was absolutely seething that I wasn't the person that got to get the multiples on it, and that I didn't get to buy it where you guys did.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like it sat here so boring. I actually held it for 2 years and I sold it at like 9 just before the breakout, and I just bought it back because I was like, oh, I guess that was perfect timing. But look, either my midterm cooked thesis is correct and there's going to be some buys in these reload zones across the board in a couple months, or it's time to just be really fucking bullish and this is all we're going to get, and we're getting these pump chaser zones really right now, high time frame across the board. Even Bitcoin's coming into one. And like today, this week, next week, you have a shopping window of maybe 2 weeks. That's the bullish scenario. And I think the like, you know, salty or bearish scenario is like a little more of this bullshit for another 2 months. But you know, I don't know which one it's going to be. So I bought today, you know, we'll see what the bounce looks like. And I'm saving cash for like an absolute fire sale. I do have a good little chunk of cash that's like for money on the floor where it's just like, oh, fuck. I'm gonna pick that up.
When you got drunk and trotted out the midterm cook thesis, I was not bothered by price depreciation. I was bothered by your time comments where you were like, it's going to be a slog for months and weeks. And
well, that's how it goes.
Like, dude, tell me it's going to retrace. Tell me it's going to retrace 50% tomorrow. I am unaffected. Tell me it's going to take fucking months, and I will literally find you.
You're gonna have months of pain. You're gonna have moments where you question your existence.
It's usually like that's how it goes, right? It just like you have the real fun, and then it just drives you nuts for a bit, and then it's fun for a bit, and then it drives you nuts for a while, and then it's fun for a while. Like we had all that. You don't think we're gonna go a little bit crazy for a bit, like whatever that looks like. I just think it's gonna suck, and then we go through the halvening, and it'll all look so obvious. Nobody will have picked up the bags that they wish they had. They'll just be busy on Wojak fucking Twitter. And we'll be making bank because we bought the levels and we built our positions. It's a good thing, guys. It's a good thing, but not if you're fucking sitting here. Not if you're fucking sitting here buying tops and crying about the people who sell in your head. Like it's all good. We're all gonna be there together at the Citadel in 2-3 years, 7 years. I think DESO is going to do for social media what Bitcoin did for finance. There, I said it.
Dude, you got some smart money behind this thing. Fucking Polychain Capital still sitting in their bags.
The smartest, yeah.
Messi, I linked the article on DePIN in Solana for you in chat, private chat.
What's something we haven't heard about Solana DePIN that's in there?
Well, you can open the link up and take a look. Scroll through.
I will.
Why
But
don't
for
you
the people on the
subscribe and pay
stream-
for the goddamn offering?
I'll
Fuck's
read it.
sake.
bro.
These guys, you know, these guys sell these reports, right?
No, yeah.
No,
Get yourself a LARP badge.
This is free.
I know, I'm teasing.
You might get one, and so might Messi. You never know.
Are there any because I've been scoping io.net. Is that in there?
Yes, it is. Very nice. It's super cool.
I was seething. I didn't get to buy Nosana cheap.
Oof, that should
earlier. I'm reading about it
today,
now.
wasn't it?
I remember looking at it. Yeah, it's if you look at the chart is fucking insane. This thing is straight up.
Which one?
Yeah.
Which one's that?
Nosana. Yeah, it's
Oh.
an awesome project.
Somebody mentioned that in the chat today. Where do I find it?
Just bring up that article. It's in private chat, and then you can scroll through it. You can give us some airtime.
Nosana is the quintessential of buying someone's multiples.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
That thing is straight up.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What is that? Just a cool, what is that? 132x from October. Nice.
That's insane.
Damn. 1.2 million liquidity.
So
nobody made
So
10
to all
million.
you guys who are bitching and moaning and crying, listen to Messi. We are bullish.
Yeah.
So fucking bullish.
It's really just about
He
picking your
knows.
bags. And I think that's a great thing about the market as we evolve is like there's always a bull somewhere. It's not like every time, you know, Bitcoin hiccups that everything moves down together. Like, remember how annoying that was for the longest time? Like everything was a centralized exchange market maker's book and everything that just like hiccuped all together. And now you can actually find winners in the midst of some bullshit, which is what's happening with ALEPH and
Look,
Nosana.
I truly believe that, and I'm not saying it's my bags, and it might be and it might not be. You know, there are plays right now that you can buy that are actually going to be big outside of crypto, like period. And I think this is the first cycle where we can actually speculate on that. Like the use case of crypto up until this point has been straight gambling, but like we're going to see some escape velocity type stuff.
Can I just point out, I noticed during our stream, DWF has their own category.
Yeah, in that badass. Dude, I
love
spent days on the DWF page just like
The
We
labs
should rename it
portfolio.
cartel coins because
Yeah.
that's literally
Here's-
all cartel coins.
If you're
Dude,
curious,
ton
guys,
is on there.
here's
Fuck,
your
dude, of
cartel
course it
coin.
is.
Ton.
If you were leverage scalping in the bear, you know all of these coins already. Like you know them intimately by how they fucked you or like made you rich in a gigasecond. Like
Yeah. When can we invite you back?
you can invite me whenever.
Okay.
Whatever you
Sounds
like.
good. Sounds good, dude. I've
Come on.
actually got a call to get to. Y'all can stick around if you want. I don't know how you're feeling about time. But
Messi, I have a
it's been a
question to
goddamn
ask you
pleasure.
around Shitcoin Church because you know we adopted Shitcoin Church
Yeah.
and Grant and I do a show on a Thursday afternoon, and
he's
I
suing.
was just wondering. No, he's not suing because he
I don't
gave
give a
us.
shit.
He
I gave
us
them explicit permission.
he gave us the permission. We asked for it.
I'm honored to have somebody like yourself carry the torch. How about that?
Cool, dude. I love you too, and it's so cool to have you on. You're a fucking legend.
Thank you.
And
Dude.
here's that article you were
Sometimes,
mentioning just
yeah.
before we take off. The Solana DePIN ecosystem. I got to read this one. I talk that shit about go read it, but like I'm bad at catching up and keeping up with my favorite news articles and you know.
So the
news
guy who
newsletters.
wrote this is your kettle of fish, Messi 563. You should follow him on Twitter. He's super big brain. He's actually a rocket scientist, and he's now working with us.
Wow.
Actual.
Love
that.
actual, like for real. He's an actual for real rocket scientist, and we've managed to get him to join us. And his research is, he doesn't get too caught up in the details, but he gives you just enough, and it's juicy stuff. So yeah,
buy low, sell high. It's not rocket science.
Well, buy low the right thing and sell high to those.
Except in this case, it may be a rocket science.
And with that, my friends, we bid you adieu. Messi, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you back and the gang here on Hxro Labs.
Oh my.
We'll call it Delta Phi. We'll call it the Pit, whatever it is. It's Tuesday. And we look forward to seeing y'all again someday soon. Until next time, guys, whatever you do, always be bullish.
Always.
We're bullish.
Be bullish. I bleed bullish.